Eventually, we go back to the apartment. She falls asleep. I go through her phone, and it is her and him dogging on me, talking about how she's going to stay on my good side so she can get things from me, and all sorts of terrible stuff. And so I'm like, hey, wake up, let's go. And she's like, oh my gosh, did you go through my phone? I'm like, yeah, I did. And then, so I got married May 17th of this year. And shortly before that, my wife, or ex-wife, started a new job. And that's important to know. So we end up moving into our apartment together in mid-July. I believe it's July 16th. Between when we got married and that time, we were living with my parents. So we move in about 2 weeks after that. My wife has just a breakdown, comes in my office, has a breakdown about, I feel like we might have rushed into this. We did things too soon, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't like we need to split. It was just, I'm freaking out. So, okay, let's talk through it. And about a week later, she apologizes, says, hey, I think I was just having kind of a mental breakdown. I'm like, hey, that's fine. I get it. It's scary times. I had a freak out. I think it was like the third night that we were staying in the apartment, just about missing my family. So some time goes on, and now we're in August, and there's another freak out. And I feel like we rushed into this, blah, blah, blah. Well, we meet with our premarital counselor. Well, our counselors, I guess, but they did our premarital counseling. We talked through it, and they're like, hey, this is super common. We see this in young married couples all the time. Let's, set some expectations for one another just so you guys can help each other out. And we did. And, I think in my head, things are going great. Okay, so Monday, September 15th rolls around, and I leave work a little early. She tells me that she wants me to come home so we can talk. And so we go home, or I go home, and I get there, and she's like, hey, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. So I'm like, okay, I play the game for an hour. Go back in. Hey, I'm not ready to talk just yet. Go play the game. Okay, go back in for an hour. Whatever. So basically, she tells me, hey, I don't know. I don't want to talk about this. I think that it's just not worth talking about. And me being an anxious person, I'm like, well, is it something small, or is it something like you want to move out? And she's just kind of like, and I get home, I'm going to figure.
Like I've said before, I don't fault him for believing that being the best version of himself would somehow fix her. That's what most men think early on. What they don't realize is that many people like this are loyal only to their emotions in the moment. Dealing with someone like that is never worth your time, energy, resources, or sanity. That's why it's critical to never ignore red flags, never make exceptions, and never lower your guard.